Hey everybody, Boris is Vicky Forex. Welcome to the Weekly Technicals for the crosses for Sep 13th to Sep 20th, 2019. And on the cross side, there's a couple of very interesting trades that are definitely popping up. All of them essentially on the calm dollar side, in my opinion, with cable being the one lone exception on the majors that I think is sort of interesting. So Euro Kiwi to me, very, very interesting technically because it had a major reversal midweek. This is, of course, the reversal off the Euro. Also, the weakness in the Kiwi added to the whole spectrum of things. And if we see further weakness in the Kiwi, I think we have potential here to hit 175. It's very extended, but there's still scope here because resistance doesn't really kick in until about that point. Pound Swiss is a very interesting cross substitute for the pound dollar trade because it's creating exact same dynamics of bumping up into much more significant resistance than we've seen before. And I think that could be a very interesting trade here as we go forward. Combine that with the fact that if we do get a little bit more of a dovish Fed, that really does create more pressure on dollar Swiss. So we have this potential here from both ends to kind of make the trade work in front of the Fed meeting as we go forward. And then finally, odd Kiwi, just a surprisingly strong breakout. And I think you have to respect that breakout for now. We took out a lot of very, very strong resistance here, and it really opens up the ground here for a further run, perhaps towards the 109 as we go forward. So let's take a look at the charts here and just see exactly what I mean. First, pound Swiss. So V-shaped recovery. This is the big, vicious, hard Brexit to soft Brexit story. But we come up against a pretty significant amount of resistance here in this 124.25 zone. And I think that's where you're going to very likely encounter a potential here for at least some profit taking or at least some slowdown here as far as the trade goes. To me, this is probably even a more interesting short than the pound itself. And if we do get a little bit of chunkiness around this level, we certainly have a chance to come back down to 123. And ultimately, the support here is really the 122 level if we get a big unwind. I don't think we can expect that much, but I do think there's at least a chance here to come back towards the 123s as we go forward. And most importantly, I do think that if you're going to short this thing, it's probably a scale-up short, meaning that you sort of trade against the 24s, the 24.50s, with a stop at around 25.50. That's the only way you can kind of scale into this trade and have a reasonable chance for it to stall out, come back down, and retest the lows. At least that's how I would be looking at it as we go forward. Now, the next trade I want to take a look at is the Aussie Kiwi that we talked about. Look at this breakout. That is just way too strong to ignore. When you have such a big, powerful move, yeah, you may have some consolidation. We may have a trade back down towards the 107 level, but really, unless the 107 level breaks to the downside and this becomes a false breakout, you have to operate under the assumption that we're now in a new territory of the 107, 109 zone, and really you don't have any significant resist until we get to about 109.50 all the way from October of 18. So now we're in uncharted territory, fresh trading zone territory, and any kind of a retrace here is certainly a buy more than it is a sell, unless it breaks the lows over here. Then it becomes a false breakout, and you want to walk away. But any kind of a pullback over here to, let's say, 107.50, 107.45, probably a very decent entry. And it's probably going to be a pretty decent entry in front of that big Wednesday when we have the GDP in New Zealand and the employment in Australia. Unless that goes completely sideways, that's a trade that should really work for more upside. Lastly, we have the Euro Kiwi. Let me pull that up. And that was just a major doji reversal. Look at this reversal. That is just monstrous. It's essentially a 300, 200-point move reversal in the Euro Kiwi. When you have these big moves, this is one of those kind of pairs where the big moves really, you can see it's like a giraffe. It has these huge extensions and then consolidations and then further extensions. So to me, this is not the end of it. This still has scope to go towards the 175s. And of course, this is really a trade on perhaps further weakness in the Kiwi. And if we can take out the 111s in the Euro, that's a very, very positive zone. I actually, in some ways, I would probably be looking at this trade. I mean, I suppose you could look at it just organically by itself, but I would really get much more comfortable. If Euro itself takes out the 111, I would probably plow into this trade because I think then you have continuation here towards the 175 with much greater confirmation. That's how the crosses shape up. I wish you guys the best luck, the best trading. Boris Landsberg, over and out.